Copy. Yeah, so for example, one of my reps right now, he won't be on, but he just told me like, oh, one of his reps will be on and he needs the code to get in. So that's what this is for. It's not for any particular company or anything. It's just so that we're able to have success in our and make our industry better. So thank you for being here, guys. We'll go ahead and get started. The steps for success and how to get the utility bill. I feel like these are the main things that people, when they're new, they have a lot of pressure. You could go to the next slide if you want. They feel a lot of pressure because they're comparing themselves to people that are, been in sales or solar for years. So there's never a time where you want to compare yourself to somebody that's been doing this for a long time, because you're going to already mentally set yourself up to fail. I could not say that I could do the same amount of things I did now than 6 years ago. So just a little about me. I've been doing solar sales for 6 years. I did real estate prior to that, seminar sales across the US. And I also worked at Verizon for 9 years. So most of the time it was leading teams of about 25 to 30 people. I have a bilingual team across multiple states. Some of the best salespeople are on my team. Super proud of that. And that's just because they developed their skills. They didn't come in being the best. So I co-founded an organization called Women United by Solar, which allows us to basically bring more inclusivity. Sometimes women were like one in an office of 20, and this is just a place we all come and basically vent, ask for help. So that's been really exciting, and a lot of things we're working on for that. So one of the main things that I was talking about, the mindset for success, a lot of times we get like the steps, like, oh, go get 20 bills, go talk to this, but all of that is pretty irrelevant if you don't have the mindset. If you're not set up and you think it's just going to be easy, right? Because some people are like, oh, it's easy. I closed 5 deals this week. Like, yeah, but what did you do prior to that? How did you get in that mental state? How did you get to the level where you can do that? So that's going to determine how your day is going to go and the results you're going to get for your efforts. So it's really easy for someone to say, well, all you do is here's this script. You go knock 100 doors. You're going to get 5 appointments. You'll close 2. But if you don't tell them like how to get into that state, then they're going to just, go knock 100 doors, maybe only 20 people answer. They tell them, get off my lawn. Don't you see the sign? Get off here, and that's going to be setting them up to fail. So the way you want to start your day is you want to have like you want to give yourself a routine. So for me, not everyone, but for me particularly, I like to do affirmations in the morning. So for example, today is going to be a great day. I can't wait to see what my reps are doing, how many deals we're going to get in. And sometimes it's just positive things like, okay, I'm going to knock out my to-do list by 10 a.m., I'm going to get a walk in, whatever it is that gets your day going good. You want to affirm positivity. You want to be grateful. So the reason I mentioned gratitude is because if you start your day like, today I have to knock 100 doors, today I have to call 100 people, then you're already like, it's a chore. It's something you have to do. Versus if you reframe that, the name of the game is to reframe. And if you reframe that to, I'm so lucky I get to call people and work from home. I'm so lucky I just have to knock doors till I get someone that says yes. And then I have a possibility of a big income. What I think of this often. I tell my reps, we were at an installer the other day and he made us laugh. He said, before you were bougie, when you were back at Mervyn's or Macy's, and it was true. It puts things into perspective. We think of a solar sale or helping a homeowner as like, oh, I got to get the next one. I got to think about like how lucky you are to make in one sale what some people make in a whole month. So if you look at it that way, then you're super excited to do the actions to get that one sale, to get the next one, right? So some people meditate. I know that helps me when I'm really stressed. It does really, even if you're in the middle of all the chaos, you will never go wrong taking aside 15 minutes to work on your mental health and get back to that state of everything's fine. I'm going to help people. This is super cool what I get to do. And if I take really good care of them, they're going to introduce me to someone else that can help. So exercising, a daily walk, whatever it takes, let that set the precedence for the rest of the day. Another thing besides, just feeling good and all that, of course, there has to be work. You could be like, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But without actions, you won't get those results. You could be the most positive person in the world, but it takes work, right? So one of the things that I recommend is role playing and practice. Kobe Bryant wasn't the best because he was just born the best. Everyone's born with a talent or ability, but they develop it by training, by going 2 hours before games and shooting free throws when everyone else was just relaxing or doing what they had to do. So when you do that, you build confidence, and then that translates to your sale, to your appointment setting, to every facet of solar. One of the ways that you could see how you're projecting yourself. So like I used to hate hearing myself being recorded or watching videos, but until I did that honest work and like recorded my closings, I could literally watch them later and be like, that's where I could see the people's face, I try to get them to have their camera and I'd be like, oh, that's where he started doubting or asking a lot of questions. Sometimes we open can of worms or things. So keeping it simple, recording yourself and then being able to rewatch that really helps. If you have scripts, scripts are meant to be read for you to memorize and know the flow, but you don't want to read it like a script. You actually want to know the information. And then you get good at that by practicing and recording. One of the best things that some of the companies that we worked at would do is you would have role plays before going out to the field, whether it was on the phone, like with phone calls, or just in person. Having a role play gets all the jitters out. You know how like when you go knocking or you start making calls, you're like, the first 3 I'm going to blow. Like, it's just gonna be like, hi, I was calling. And like, that's not a really good way to set an appointment, but it still works. But if you role play before, it's much easier. And also accountability. So not just like, oh, I'm going to do this, like this day I'm going to do this day I'm going to do that. Treat it as a job and you will get the results. And accountability partners work as well. So putting everything in writing. We could go to the next slide. And if you have any questions, you guys write them down or put them in the chat box and we will go over them at the end. I have Laura here who's assisting me. She's great. And also if you want to put there where you're joining us from, that would be awesome as well. For what is your why? This is really important because without your why or your purpose, you're going to give up, right? It's only when you understand your why or your purpose that you'll be more capable of pursuing the things that give you fulfillment. So people like, we don't do solar because, I just want to be rich. I want to make all this money. It's like, no, there's a reason, because I want to take care of my family, because I want to create generational wealth, because I like to feel success, because I like to help others feel success, or because I have to leave a legacy to my children, my family, a foundation. There's a reason. It isn't just like, I want to be rich or I want to make all this money. And the more you're dialed in and zoned in on that, what motivates you, and you have it written down in a place that's visible, the more likely that's going to happen. And think back to anything big you've done and you visualize and you thought about it a lot for it to happen. It could be as small as like, I want to be able to work from home, and you were in your car driving to work and thinking like, I hate this 1 hour commute. I want to work from home. And then boom, it happened, right? So it's through visualization. And then the next slide. At this, once you do that, once you visualize everything, you set your vision with timeframes for accountability, and don't be hard on yourself. You don't, where you see yourself in 3 months becoming an expert. Maybe you become an expert in 6 months. That's okay. This is just a time frame to give you some relevance. In 6 months, I want to pay off my debt. In 1 year, I want a new car. 5 years, I want to have a down payment for a house. So once you create these short and long-term goals, that's how you measure your success. This is more realistic to measure your success than measuring it, comparing yourself to the top producer. That is not relevant because we don't know where he came from. We don't know what he already had in the pipeline. We don't know, but you do know where you were 3 months ago, where you were 6 months ago, etc. So when you find your strengths and you keep that vision, you basically make it a reality by doing the actionable items that maybe aren't the best, like knocking doors. But say if you don't like to knock doors, but that's the best way you could do it without spending money, then give yourself a goal. I'm going to knock doors for 3 months. I'm going to be the best door knocker, but I'm going to build a pipeline of people that recommend me, so I don't have to keep knocking doors. If you treat every customer you help, like this is not just a sale, this is actually someone I'm going to help, I'm going to take care of them, we're going to be friends, they will bring you your pipeline for years and years and years. So what obstacles will you have to overcome? When you already know what you're going to have to overcome, it's easier when that happens, right? When you get a flat tire, when you're out in the rain, like if you already knew that going into it, it won't destroy you or like break your day. It will be like, okay, if it rains, I go to phone calls. One of the best things you could do when you're starting off is make a warm list. 25 people that own homes that you know probably pay a lot, have a lot of kids or whatever in good states. And then you call them and you tell them, you know, how's your day, etc. If they can't use solar, they'll know somebody that could. But always have like 25, a list of dream 25 people you would like to work and help. And then also some business owners that can help you cross promote. So we'll go to the next slide and then I'll explain a little bit more how I've used that. So whatever you determine, what comes after you determine your why and your goals, and your vision is setting the actual goals. Next slide. They should be, I'm not going to go too into detail. You probably heard this before, but they should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So if you just set a goal, like I want to make $1 million next year in solar, the chances of getting that are very slim to none. If you didn't put how you're going to do it specifically, I need to do 3 sales a week for 50 weeks with 2 weeks off. And if you can't break it down to that level, it's probably not going to happen. It has to be doable. Like you can't just be your first year and I'm going to make $1 million. You have to be, you know, small steps, like be like, okay, my first year, 200,000. That is possible, very possible. I know many people that had attained that in the first year, but maybe you're like, it's kind of hard, I'm having a rough start, make it 100,000. Make it whatever you need for it to be achievable and it's relevant with you. If you're working full time, then you're not going to make 100,000 part-time, you know, and then give yourself a time frame. So always put a deadline on it and don't beat yourself up. Always quantify it. Like, okay, I didn't get the 200,000, but I got 180. That's freaking awesome. That's more than 90% of the people I know make, you know? So reward yourselves. So now that we talked about the mindset, I think it's important to talk about that, because without understanding that solar is not easy, there's people out there selling dreams like, oh, it's so easy. No, it's not. You have to work like anything else. So now we'll talk about how to get the utility bill to generate a proposal. So basically there's several ways to do this. One of them would be, you know, the reason why it's the key is because without a bill, we can't really generate a proposal or set an appointment. So there's many ways to do it, you know, to get a bill. You could do it in person by your family, friends, people you know at an event. You can knock doors. You could do it over the phone. A lot of people ask me like, oh, what do you do when you don't have leads? I buy old leads and I have somebody call them, or we put them on a system that automatically emails, text them until they say, hey, I need an appointment. Or they say, go away, leave me alone. Then we remove them, right? You could text old prospects. If you have a CRM, you could go to people that didn't buy and you could just literally text them like, hey, by the way, this is Lily. I'm just checking in. I know you said you needed a few months to think about it. When would you be available to go over the numbers for your home now? And they'll either say yes, no. If they say no, then you're just like, okay, no problem. I was just, you know, doing my due diligence. I didn't want to have you, you know, have this big bill, I remember. But by the way, do you know anybody else that could benefit from solar? Then they start feeling FOMO, like, oh, well, if I'm going to recommend my sister who's complaining about her bill, maybe I should look at it too. So you always make it like, hey, I'm just trying to help homeowners save money. If you don't want to, you know, do that, do you happen to know anyone else? I have a really great referral program. Then they'll start wanting it themselves. It's kind of like a weird thing, like it's a fear of missing out inadvertently in that text. And then through social media, we tell stories. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but social media has probably brought me $100,000 in commissions, if I'm being very honest, over that probably. And there was times where for months, that's all I did, social media. I didn't spend 1 penny on leads, nothing. And then it dries up and then I buy leads, you know, and it's just a game of seeing what's working. They can be family, friends, coworkers, strangers. Another one I missed here that's really good is networking events. I have one person that does a lot of like they go to farmers markets or swap meets and things like that. And that's a very good way too, especially when you do it week after week, your visibility grows and people just know you as the solar person there, and they'll refer people to you. So always remember to spark curiosity and be short and simple. The reason I mention this is because a lot of times when people are new, they're like all excited, like, hey, I could save you. There's a 30%, like, come on, send me my bill. And that's kind of like commission breath, right? People are like repelled by like, how much are you making off this if you're so desperate to have me give you my bill, right? So always try to just say like, something short, tell them, oh, I'm doing solar now. When they ask, if you send me your bill, I can tell you how much you could save, it doesn't cost you anything, about 30-minute conversation, and they will. And the magic answer, whenever they ask you, because you're going to be at the doors on the phone and you're new, and this is where I see new people get hung up, they get nervous, like, oh, somebody asked me, like, does this guaranteed? Like, what happens if it rains? Like, different things that are maybe a little technical, or like, if I have a battery, do I still have to be connected to Edison, etc. Right? The best answer for any of these questions is to take a pause and say, you know what, that is a great question. I'll explain that in detail once I have your proposal back. Does that sound good? Does that sound fair? And when you say that, what are they going to say? No, I need to know now. Like, no, then they say, okay, so what do I need for the proposal? Oh, I just need a copy of your bill. I have your phone number. What's your email again? And then that's it. And you set an appointment. And it's also a pattern interrupt, because it takes the conversation from the problem or what they need answered now to once we get the appointment. So now because remember here, you are not selling solar when you're trying to get an appointment. That's the worst thing you could do. You are selling an appointment to sell solar, right? If you start answering all their questions, what happens is their curiosity is gone. They feel fulfilled, and they'll be like, oh, I'll send you my bill next month. I'll look into it. I have a wedding coming up. If you tell them that's a great question, that's a great question, actually, let me write that down and make sure I cover it, then they want that appointment to get their fulfilled, their fulfillment from their questions. Does that make sense? So that's how to get it. If you wanted an example, like a little role play situation, I'll do this with Laura. Hey, Laura, how are you? How have you been? How's your family?
Oh, hi, Lily. Everything's going very good. Thank you for asking. How are you?
Oh, great. Just hanging in there, really good. How is everything going with work and the kids?
Well, everything is going good. I'm working more than I should. You know how it is.
Yeah. Are you working from home, or are you still going into the office?
I'm working from home, actually.
So you're probably like most of my customers. So I was just wondering, are you already saving money then with solar?
Well, no, actually, since I've been working from home, I have like a higher electricity bill. So I'm kind of getting a little worried, but um, no, that's something I've heard about, but I haven't paid much attention to it.
Right. So that's great. That's what most people tell me. So most of my homeowners that I talk to, they do mention, oh, I'm working from home. And that's why I thought of you. I thought, oh, I'm gonna call, and see how she's doing. And I figured you would be working from home. So if you want, do me a favor, do what's for yourself as well. Since you're home, or are you home right now, or you're out and about?
Oh, yes, I'm home.
Yeah, do me a favor, send me a picture of your electricity bill, and I'd love to show you how much you could save by going solar. No obligation. I just want to see if I can help you.
Okay, yeah. You can try and convince my
Okay, yeah,
husband.
you don't lose anything. And just so you know, there's a lot of really good incentives. And I know that you mentioned you're working at home a lot, and the kids are growing, and they're probably going to start using more Xbox and all that good stuff, right? So
Yes.
yeah, on average, we're saving homeowners about 30 to 50% in your area. So I would love to do that.
Oh,
Um, Let me
okay.
send, and then I'll just give them like how to send it. I'm going to send you like a text with my email and just send it there. Sound good? And then they're like, yes. And then you could resume whatever you were talking about. or like, oh, we should go out for drinks, whatever it is, make it super casual. And this is your warm list. This is obviously not someone you don't know.
Yes,
So
yes,
then
you're my friend.
the next way that you can gain interest is, you could go to the next slide. So if you want to talk about solar over the phone, see that, oh, that one was kind of over the phone, but it could be in person too. So you build a relationship first and show interest. So this is show a genuine interest in how they and their family are doing, and ask them about their job, literally what I just did. But this is if you're doing it with a stranger, like say you got a cold call list. You're going to call and you're not going to say like, oh, hi, this is, you could say like where you're calling from, but it could be, hi, this is Lily. I was just calling to see how you, sorry, if you're saying a cold one, right? Hi, this is Lily. I was just calling because it looks like you inquired about saving on your on your electricity bill. Then they'll say, oh, no, I'm not interested. Oh, okay, no problem. What about it didn't interest you? So turn it, right? And then you just say, oh, okay, no problem. It's not for everyone. Take it away. It's not for everyone, but most people in your area are saving 30 to 50%. Would that be something that would interest you? Always make it about them. Would that be something that would interest you? Yeah, actually, I didn't know you could save that much. I heard they put a lien on your house. Da, da, da. Oh yeah, there's so many programs that have been out there. My job is just really to educate you on how it works. And we'll just see the numbers. So asking them about their job, how their day is, anything to break preoccupation. And then they're going to ask you like, oh, so what do? You just call from home, and you basically just make it about them. You're just helping families save money with solar. And this could be for a warm or a cold lead. Obviously, if it's warm, it's going to be way more rapport building. And if it's a cold lead, it's going to be a little like, oh, hey, Jessica, how's it going? What's the weather like over there? It's raining where I'm at. Is it raining where you are at? Oh, no, what is this about? Oh, sorry, I forgot what I was even calling you about. Actually, I was calling you because we're helping homeowners save a lot of money with on their electric bill. Is that something that you could use? No, I don't think so. I only pay a little bit. Oh, well, how much is a little bit? Like show genuine interest and really try to help. And if you're not going to save them and they're like, sound really older and my bill's $80, well, you probably won't help them. So, but just be genuine. And the main thing here is if you don't get an appointment from them, you can ask them, do you know somebody that could benefit from this? And 9 times out of 10, they do. And if you are really nice, professional, and cordial, then they'll tell you, I've had that happen with like renters when I call, even though they answered an ad, they're like, oh, no, I don't own the home though. And then I'll say, oh, well, we have a really great referral program. I'm sorry, I can't help you save. I wish I could. But if you know anyone that owns a home, I would love to help them. And then they'll be like, oh, well, my daughter actually, she told me she pays like $400. Oh, okay. Well, and then I tell them the referral program. So one of the biggest ways that I generate a lot of business, and this isn't even just selling for solar. This isn't even just selling solar. It's actually recruiting my team and helping more people know about solar is through social media. So you share promotions and incentives, but you don't want to overdo it because we call that like data vomit, right? Like, oh, you're going to get this. Then again, you sound like a salesperson and it kind of shuts the prospect down. Versus if you're like, oh, I just educate people on the benefits of renewable energy. And I do that through storytelling. You say, oh, this is the home, put a picture of an install, even if it's not yours, just put that. Show a before and after solar bill. Say, this person was paying $500 in the summer, $300 in the winter, and it was causing a financial strain now that all the parents are working from home, etc. Or they just got switched to time of use and their bill doubled. And then you say, so they went solar. I'm so excited to help them go solar. Not I sold a deal, I closed a deal, I made this much commission. Nobody, we don't talk about that, because when a prospect is considering solar, they're thinking of how they're going to feel. So if you tell a story, stories connect because they are like that homeowner with that bill going up every month. They want those results. People don't wake up and go, oh, I want to buy solar today. No, they don't. They wake up and they're like, oh, I got it's bill pay day. Oh my God, I got to pay the mortgage, my solar, my electricity bill. I have to pay the water bill. Like, oh my God, these bills just keep going up. So if you're able, sorry, I think it got disconnected for a bit. I got a call. So if you're able to paint the picture of what their life will be like once they have solar and they have $100 or $200 extra, that's what people buy. And so you show them pictures, before and after bills, and you share how you love to do your job of helping people save money. And don't forget that you have to entertain and captivate your audience. If your feed on social media is just solar, 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 people start tuning you out, because it's just like, show pictures of you with your family, show pictures of you on, I don't know, on a date with your husband or your wife, show pictures of the beach, anything you do. And then you're gonna, so these are the 3 things you have to do to have a following, right? A lot of times people ask me like, well, how did you get those followers? Why did people? Because if you're genuine, you're passionate, and you're really doing what you love, people like to see that, because everybody wants that in their own life, right? Nobody wakes up and is like, oh, I want a crappy life. Like, no, they see people and they want to be inspired to follow in those steps. So the way you do that in social media is you entertain, you educate, and you engage. And I learned this from, my friends. Everything I learn is like from someone I know, or a book I read, or something that I tried and worked. So like Brent Attaway's, like, he's a genius at this. And he says, yeah, you have to entertain, educate, engage. Do this over and over, and you're organically building a funnel. Because then when people, I've had times where people didn't ever comment, like, mention nothing on a story that I put about solar, not one word. That I didn't even know they were watching, right? And then one day I haven't talked to someone in 6 years, and they're like, hey, I think I want to go solar. Can you send me a quote? And I'm like, what the, oh, hi, nice to reconnect. I haven't talked to you in 6 years, but yes, definitely. And then I just tell them, okay, I need your email, etc. But this is, again, I'm not like, oh, buy solar, nothing. I'm showing stories before, after, or just here's a promotion, get $1,000 back at install, whatever it is in the stories. It's something in their subconscious. And when you have somebody that either buys or doesn't buy solar, you add them as a friend if you're okay with that on your personal social media, because even if they didn't buy, or if they did buy, they'll remember to refer you. If they did buy, right, they'll be like, so many times people put like, hey, I need solar, can someone recommend? And the goal is for you to be the person they tag in every post. Once you do that, you build yourself a funnel, a pipeline of referrals. And then you just take care of those people, and then those people, and those people. I'll give you an example. If you do this well enough and people know you're genuine and you really are doing this to help people. I had somebody that I was tagged on a post, sold him solar, and then he went, well, I'm a realtor, I could do this myself. What if I just join your company? He recruited himself to buy the solar and then to sell it. So it's possible, it's out there. It's just, you have to be doing the work, which is posting. Sometimes you're like, oh no, nobody reads it. Who cares? If nobody likes it, who cares? They're watching. If you are able to get a professional account on social media, I highly recommend it, because I just did it. And now I could see when you post, it shows you impressions, views, reactions. So you might see 0 reactions, everything, but 500 people saw it. Guess what? That's a successful post. Because those 500 people in their head know Josh is a solar guy. Bernardo's who I go when I'm ready. If I hear someone mention this, and they just watch it and watch it and watch it in between fun things. They might like your post about the baby shower over the weekend, and everyone ignores the solar, but you build it into that funnel. Here's what I do in my personal life. Here's what I do for work. Here's how I help families. Here's a good article. And it just becomes in their mind, you are the solar person. So that's how that works for social media. And then I believe is that, now that you know how to request and obtain a copy of the electric bill, that's where the fun starts. So the best way to look at it is like, let's make money while I help homeowners save the planet and money, not how much can I make on this deal. The minute your frame mind is like, how much is the most I can make? Let me squeeze every penny. Then that translates to your sale, to your prospecting, to everything really. So if you have any questions or anyone want to practice asking for invoice or bill, now's the time to speak. Thank you all for being here too.
That was great. Thank you, Lily.
Thanks, Josh. Did you have any questions or anything you think?
Definitely. I'm really interested in the social media, the entertain, educate, and engage. So yes, that's awesome stuff. I do need to start adding more personal stuff in my life. Is there certain days that you would like to like entertain versus like go for book an
That's a
appointment?
really great question, Josh. So it's not by days. So remember at the mastermind when Bennett was talking about how he posts,
Mhm.
like it's actually supposed to be 4 posts a day. And it sounds like a lot of work, but it's not, I promise you. If you do this, you will get leads. So in the beginning, this is something we both learned from the same guy. And listen to this, 6 years apart. I was in this mastermind program he's in now with Ryan Stewman 6 years ago, and that algorithm has not changed because it works.
Okay.
So the first thing in the morning, like between 9 and 10, when people are drinking their coffee, settling into the office or whatever, you want to put something that's just like uplifting. Maybe, I don't know if you've ever seen, I put like a motivational quote, something just like, oh, like, maybe a motivational quote or something interesting in the morning. And then you want to educate. So you could put, oh, like, here's the new IRA. So I have like infographics that I could send to you guys too. I just got one and I told Laura, look, this is really good. It just explains the breakdown of like all the credits with the new Inflation Reduction Act. So now there's like, $7,000 credit on cars. It talks about not just solar. So you're giving people value, right? It also gives them how to how much they could qualify for a main panel upgrade, electrical, water heater, like, so look for different resources that you can post that are informative. So I go to the NRL and NERL, the National Energy Renewable Lab, that I look at different, because those are third party. That doesn't look like Lily's trying to promote. It literally looks like this is a source of renewable energy and this is what they're talking about. And that will show you, that's like what we call proof of concept, or we call it proof like of, oh, people are benefiting from this. So then I would put something entertaining or engaging, which would be, if you could go anywhere right now and you had $1,000 to book a ticket, where would you go? Or, hey, I need help. If you'll remember some of these when I mention them. My niece's birthday is coming up, and this was a real question. I mean, I don't make these up. What should I get her? I didn't get her a gift. Or like, where should I take someone to a nice restaurant that's in from out of town? Anything. Or like, in Miami, what's your favorite restaurant? Me and Vanessa are looking to try something new, like anything. And you'll get boom, 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 boom. So what this does is it's a funnel and it builds it. So when you get people, like maybe 10 people reacted to your first one or looked at it, the next one, your engagement rank goes up in social media and in Facebook or in Instagram, whatever. And then when you put that question, you are reaching the biggest audience, because always questions or engagements, or like post a picture of your dog. You're like, oh, I don't know, this is my favorite beach. Post a picture of your favorite beach, whatever, And when people start reacting, then more. So now you have, how Facebook decides how many people see your stuff. If you put engaging content, like a question or something where a lot of people react, that's the best time to put something about solar next, because now it's going to be visible to 200 people. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's literally a funnel you're building. And if you do day one, you might have 5 people comment, in a week, you'll have 10 people, and that's how you build a following.
Cool.
And once you have a following, you have a giant funnel. If you have, 3,000 people as friends, 3,000 people are seeing your stuff.
So that was 3. I only got 3 of them. Sorry, I wanted to write them down. So
yeah, so like the first one is something motivational or uplifting. The second one is something of value, like a graphic, like this is what's going on in the United States, an article maybe. The third one is a question, something to engage them, or post a picture of your dog, like I'm kind of, oh man, it's raining here. Someone post what the weather is like where they're at. I'll post like sometimes like when it's really hot, 100 degrees, and then I'll be like, how hot is it where you're at? And people just start putting screenshots of like the temperature where they're at. Anything engaging. And then the last thing is, hey, here's an install I was at, this homeowner saved this. click here if you'd like a free proposal with a call to action always. So it's share, 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 take, which is the same, everyone uses that. Gary V, his thing is punch, 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 hook. It's like give, 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 which is give value, give value, give value, ask. And if you do that algorithm, it works.
Awesome stuff. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that works for anything, not just social media. Like it works for in person too. Like, how are you? Oh, like you be helpful to people, you bring them value. You send them, hey, you mentioned you needed a recommendation for this. Like you do good. And then you say, hey, I totally forgot to ask you, how much do you pay for your electric bill? Whoa. And everything they say, it's like, oh my gosh, unless it's like $80, right? But if they tell me 200, I'm like, oh, that's a lot. Were you always paying 200? And they're like, no, I used to pay like 100 this last summer. And I'm like, yeah, well, send me your bill and I'll see if I can help you. And what are they going to say? No, I don't want to save. So just be genuine though. Like that only comes through actually giving value. When realtors ask me about stuff, they hate solar. A lot of them used to, or they did, or do. And I'm like, hey, look, I'm not trying to sell you on solar, nothing. I just want to give you the information. If you ever come across a contract that you don't understand, a PPA, and you're like, oh, it's going to be hard to sell this house, send it over. I'll look at it for free and just help you out.
Yeah,
And then guess what? When they get a referral, Lily's going to help you. Oh, I know the perfect person. She'll help you. She helps me read contracts, or she's helped me sell homes with solar, etc. So always in every interaction, give value, and that same will come to you. And not with the expectation, literally just try it, be grateful, give value, help people, and you'll never need leads. I mean, you'll have more than you can handle.
awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have any questions? I hope you guys got value out of this. And like I said, next week and the weeks after, we're going to have a beginner once a week training like this, something like how to get started. And then we're going to have an advanced one with probably guests. I'm going to try to get people like Earl, like, different people that bring value on electrical and all that stuff as well. I'm going to have like Veronica's here. She just joined. She sells turf. So I'm going to have her, if you want to sell turf in California, talk a little bit about her company and how to pair two things together. But next week's training, there's going to be one on Enphase batteries. And then that's going to be by one of our partners. And then I'm going to do the training on how to pick the right. And I'm not 100% right, but I'm going to tell you what questions to ask to determine what to give your prospect. Like if it's a cash option, if it's a loan option, or a PPA, and how not to get stuck into the dealer fee conversations we're not supposed to have. I'll talk about that in the next training, because that's a big hot button. So I always want to have one that's a hot button that people are facing today, and then one entry level training. And I think that we will all grow together and learn more in the industry, And if you were really good and you've been in the industry forever, like Omar, Damien, some of you guys, Desi, and you want to be a guest, let me know. Tell me a topic, what you're an expert at, and then we'll have you talk about it and educate everybody. Well, thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you, Laura, for recording and helping with everything. If you have any questions, just reach out to us via DM on Facebook. And have a great rest of your week, everyone.